guilty of voluntary manslaughter, not second-degree murder. As we've been telling you, he shot and killed 45-year-old Teresa Gomez back in 2023 while on duty, and today marks 4 days of the trial with closing arguments happening earlier today. Diana Castillo, she is live to break down exactly what the verdict is and those charges along with it. Diana.
Well, Monica, like you mentioned, former Las Cruces police officer Felipe Hernandez was found not guilty of second-degree murder, but guilty of voluntary manslaughter, which is the lesser charge. Now, I can tell you that this deliberation was lengthy. Jurors went into deliberation at around 11 a.m. The verdict was read about 3:30 p.m. Now, and I can also tell you that inside that courtroom, there was a wave of emotion, not just from Teresa Gomez's family, who was the victim in this case, but also from Hernandez's family after that verdict was read. Now, there was a moment when Hernandez turned to his family as he was being taken into custody and just said, I love you to his loved ones. Now, Hernandez will remain in custody until his sentencing. We still don't know when that would be. It is expected to take place in 30 to 45 days. We will, of course, keep you updated once we have that date. Now, Hernandez is facing up to 11 years in prison. And coming up at 5, we'll take you inside that courtroom when that verdict was read. But for now, from Las Cruces, Diana Castillo, KTSM 9 News.
Diana, thank you so much. This is, of course, a developing story. And to read all the details in this case, simply head on over to KTSM.com. Well, over to an update now on a wreck from last week. A 72-year-old man has died following a motorcycle crash last Thursday. That's all according to El Paso police. The incident happened along the 3700 block of John Hayes Street. That is in Far East El Paso. Police say they responded to a single motorcycle crash. Their investigation revealed that Richard Randolph lost control and crashed. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police say Randolph was pronounced dead yesterday. Anyone with information on this incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers of El Paso at the number you see right there on your screen. Well, in national news, the president caught a lot of attention around the world with a recent announcement. In today's Political Minute, Blake Berman breaks it down for us.
Are nuclear tests on the horizon? I'm Blake Berman, host of The Hill on News Nation. Shortly before his meeting with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, the president posted in part, quote, "Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately." Russia and North Korea recently announced tests of missiles that could potentially carry nuclear weapons. As for warheads, major powers haven't tested them in decades. Russia last conducted a nuclear test in 1990, before the collapse of the Soviet Union. For the U.S., it was 1992, and China, 1996. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute estimates that Russia and the U.S. have roughly the same amount of deployable warheads, with Russia potentially holding the largest stockpile, followed by the U.S. China a distant third, followed by France, the U.K., and India. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
All right, let's go ahead and take you outside now using our text dock camera, and this is our tower camera, I should say. Look at those skies, just beautiful. Looks so amazing, not a single cloud in the sky. The question is, are we in for any more cooler weather? Our guest meteorologist Darius Stringer has a look at our forecast.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Meteorologist Darius Stringer back with a check of your forecast. Looking at temperatures right now, very comfortable out there today. Looking at them, most of us in the upper 60s, right around 70 degrees here in El Paso. We got some 40s and 50s from Ruidoso through the Guadalupe Pass area, so slightly cooler temperatures there. But overall, it's been a quite enjoyable day. The winds haven't been too bad as well, mainly around single digits for most of us, closer to 10 miles an hour in Guadalupe passing over to Silver City as well. And we have those gusts a little bit stronger, but not anything crazy, closer to 15 miles an hour in Silver City. A lot of us have wind gusts around 5 to 10 miles an hour, so it's been quite peaceful for us today. And as you can see, not looking at too much going on right now. Very quiet pattern that we're dealing with, but we are expecting a low pressure system to develop over the next 24 hours, and that will usher a cold front into the region as we head into this weekend. But looking at the rest of this evening, quiet conditions, mostly clear skies. Overnight tonight, we'll see those temperatures cooling down into the upper 50s, maybe lower 50s by early tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. Your full weather's coming up here in just a few minutes.
Darius, thank you so much. All right, now we want to use our TxDOT cameras. This is I-10 Viscount, where you can see smooth flowing traffic on this Thursday afternoon. Not a bad way to pre-kickstart your weekend. Everything looking pretty nice. On November 4th, voters living within the boundaries of Tornillo Independent School District will decide on a proposal that would generate roughly $237,000 in local funds for the district's maintenance and operations budget. Let's start off with first defining what a VADER is. Basically, this is an acronym that stands for Voter Approved Tax Rate Election, and it's basically when the Texas school district is allowed to ask voters for permission to raise their property tax rate above the state's maximum limit. Unlike a bond election, a VADER does not create new debt for the district. So this year, Tornillo is asking its voters to approve funding that would be used to support daily operations like staff salaries, student programs, and utilities. What is very unique about this year's VADER is that although it is technically a tax increase, Tornillo's ISD superintendent emphasized that most Tornillo residents would not see their property taxes go up. In fact, in Tornillo, the majority of residents will not see an increase in their taxes because currently, according to the El Paso Central Appraisal District, any home valued under $119,000 is not taxed for school purposes due to the homestead exemption. Now, there is another proposition this year on that ballot that is being put for a vote, Proposition 13, and it proposes a homestead exemption for school districts be increased to $140,000, and this would help the districts asking for a VADER this election cycle.
This will allow us for the next 2 years to be able to continue with that increase for employees, but also our debt services, and continue to provide our students with the extracurriculars, all of the student programming that we have, which, you know, it's a lot for a small district.
Now, the superintendent did add that passing the VADER would help Tornillo ISD retain staff and maintain student programs until the next Texas legislative session in 2 years. Now, when Tornillo voters head to the polls during early voting through October 31st or on election day, which is November 4th, the VADER is going to appear as a Proposition A on the ballot, and it's going to read something like this. It's going to say, Proposition A, this is a tax increase, and then go ahead and tell you exactly how much it's going to be, and then it's going to tell you to vote for or against the VADER, of course, for the tax increase or against the tax increase. And the superintendent at Tornillo did urge residents to make their voices heard, and she leaves us with this thought. Take a look.
Should this proposition not pass, then it's going to be detrimental for a lot of people, because we're talking about people losing their positions, student programming not being available, and of course the individuals that do stay behind, that stay here, would be compelled to leave the district, and therefore we would be facing an attrition situation that would not be favorable for the district.
Now, remember, Election Day is November 4th, but you can still vote early until tomorrow, Friday. For more information on what else will be on your ballot next Tuesday, just head on over to KTSM.com. And coming up, a lawyer was among 9 others arrested in a local trafficking bust. We shared this story on our social media pages, and we're going to go over your thoughts in today's In the Comments segment. Then we are going to the fair. Yeah, as we continue giving you a sneak peek at the floats featured in this year's Thanksgiving Day Parade, we're going to show you which float is going all out as they embrace a carnival theme. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for tuning in to KTSM 9 News First at 4, putting local first.
That's 800-714-6291. Call now.
Welcome to the In the Comments segment. A lawyer was among 9 others arrested in a local human trafficking bust. This recent arrest was a year-long human trafficking investigation being conducted here in El Paso. Texas DPS says that over the last year, investigators discovered an international network of human smugglers and traffickers extending from Cuba through Central America and Mexico in the area. Texas DPS says that 9 people were arrested on a variety of charges, including prostitution, aggravated promotion of prostitution, online promotion of prostitution, and possession of a controlled substance, among a list of other charges. Some of the individuals accused of prostitution in this case were being represented in court by a lawyer. We did share the story all over our social media accounts, and lots of you had lots you wanted to share. We're going to start off with Patricia Walker, who says if the lawyer was this crooked, all his cases should be gone through with a fine-tooth comb. And Queen Christine Galindo writes, this is what is wrong with Texas. Get caught with no drugs, no release. You get human trafficking or something? Serious. Oh, let's release you. No wonder crime is rampant. To look at all the people you set free who should be locked up until court date. And Cesar Mendoza says, corruption at its highest level. Now, DPS says that it was determined that once victims were in the U.S., female victims from Cuba were forced into prostitution to pay off smugglers who brought them into the country. Different co-conspirators were responsible for advertising victims online and transporting them to distinct locations throughout El Paso to engage in prostitution. Well, here at KTSM, of course, we value your opinion and we do want to hear more from you. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. Up next, Texas judges and justices of peace can now refuse to perform a wedding ceremony if they claim it violates their religious beliefs. We're going to explain a little later in this newscast. This is KTSM 9+. We'll be right back.
.75% APR financing for 60 months. Go online to potoyota.com to learn more today.
Sugar School Fashion Boutique, 125 Thunderbird Suite C.
News Nation and Decision Desk HQ out in front.
Accurate election results faster than the other networks.
News Nation once again has called it first.
The difference is DDHQ.
News Nation is the first network to project with our partners Decision Desk HQ that Donald Trump will be the 47th president.
The best of it is News Nation. They kicked everybody's butt.
No one has been close to News Nation because of DDHQ.
Coverage begins Tuesday at 7/6 Central on News Nation.
El Paso's premier outdoor specialty retail store, Black Flag Outfitters, now has a second location. Our new store at Freedom Crossing in Fort Bliss has everything you need to make every outdoor moment unforgettable. Shop the best in outdoor gear from top brands like On Running, Patagonia, Oakley, Ray-Ban, Benchmade Knives, and Yeti, all in one place. Black Flag Outfitters has the gear, the brands, and the service you love for all your outdoor needs. Your adventure begins at Black Flag Outfitters, now in Fort Bliss.
Monstrous deals are here at Poe Toyota. Drive home the 2025 Tundra with 1.75% APR financing or the 2025 Tacoma with 3.99% APR financing. Catch spooky savings at 6330 Montana.
everybody. It's a full look at that forecast for you. We are expecting overall quiet weather ahead as we get into the weekend. We are expecting a frontal system to move through. It's not going to be a strong one, but it'll cool temperatures down slightly, and that's going to allow us to have a warm and breezy day for us on Halloween for tomorrow. And behind the front, we'll see temperatures rebounding nicely and leaving us for above normal start to the month of November. So looking pretty good overall as we look ahead. Allergy forecast, not looking at anything too concerning. Low conditions overall over the next 3 days. So no, looking pretty good in that department. The conditions have been quite enjoyable. You can see not much of anything going on here around the region, so we are going to continue to see fairly quiet conditions. Been pretty dry here over the past couple of days. Looking at our temperatures though, looking pretty good. Upper 60s, lower 70s from Truth or Consequences through El Paso into the Van Horn region. We got lower 60s in Silver City. Alamogordo 67 degrees, 56 in Ruidoso, and 55 in Guadalupe Pass. The coolest is Cloudcroft at 48 degrees. Now as we take a look at what we expect for our temperatures over the next 7 days, we'll take a slight temperature dip on Saturday. We'll see a frontal system move in really late tomorrow night into Saturday morning, dropping those temperatures down to the mid-70s Saturday and Sunday. But overall temperatures will rebound very nicely back up into essentially what we're going to be for tomorrow, back near 80 degrees. So overall, not looking at a big change for those temperatures over the next 7 days. Pretty consistent overall. Looking at our rain chances though, not expecting much of that here over the next 7 days as well. Like I said, we are going to see a front move through, but it's going to be pretty dry, so not expecting much action with that as well. Maybe just a slight uptick in winds and cooler temperatures behind that front. But as we look ahead at tonight, not looking at too much going on around the region. As we get into tomorrow, you can see that low starting to develop here, and that front will slowly but surely continue to drag further into our region as we head into tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a little warmer ahead of that front, but we'll see those winds picking up as well as that front continues to push through, and we'll see that move through the El Paso region around midnight, and we'll see slightly cooler temperatures by Saturday morning, but overall temperatures may be about 5 to 6 degrees cooler than what they will be on Friday, get down to about 74 degrees by Saturday afternoon. Looking at lows for tonight, we'll be on the cool side in a few areas, 40s and 50s here in the El Paso area, down to 39 degrees in Ruidoso, 41 in Van Horn. Highs for tomorrow afternoon, this is all ahead of the front, so we're looking at pretty warm temperatures in the 70s, and we'll see temperatures in the 60s and 50s over towards the Cloudcroft region. Depending on how things play out, we'll see temperatures cooling down a little bit further, but overall quiet conditions, maybe a little breezy if you're going out for trick-or-treating tomorrow evening, but overall it's going to be looking at overall pretty quiet conditions. Looking at plenty of sunshine, continuing highs in the mid to upper 70s over the next 9 days or so. We'll definitely see above normal temperatures and maybe a shot of cooler air returning by next weekend, but we'll have to see how things play out between now and then. Back to you.
Darius, thank you so much. And as he just mentioned, Halloween is coming a day early for the Humane Society of El Paso. Today, they will be hosting their Adopt a Ween Trunk or treat event for El Pasoans. There's going to be animal adoptions, a vendor fair, costume contests, food, and so much more for the entire family. This event kicks off from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Humane Society on Fred Wilson. All ages are welcome to attend, and admission is free. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
HBCU. KTSM 9 presents the Sun Bowl Parade behind the scenes.
Welcome back. Well, we do continue with our series where KTSM previews the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and we go behind the scenes to see all the work that is being put into building all the wonderful floats seen every single year. And today we're going to put our focus on a carnival float. I went out and I got a chance to see it along with photojournalist Sofia Lopez. We got to see exactly how they're putting it together. Take a look.
For today's parade preview, we are here at the warehouse where all the magic happens, and of course, we are joined by Joe Daubach. He is the Special Events Director for the Sun Bowl Association. Joe, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for coming out to the float warehouse. Well, this is called Fair Adventures by the El Paso Electric Company, and it's the theme is childhood is where dreams are born, and when you're a kid, you always dream to get back to the fair, go to the state fair, enjoy all the food, the rides, and all the fun that it entails. And so that's this year's theme for El Paso Electric Company, Fair Adventures. And you can see by this, there's a working carousel, a working swing. There's going to be a roller coaster and all the stuff you can eat at the fair. You know, there's something really cool about the carousel. It was used in the El Paso Ballet back in 1991. And Richard will fill you in on that specialty.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, before we go see the float, we're going to talk to Richard, find out all about these incredible carousels. And to talk about it is lead artist Richard Glass. Richard, thank you so much for being here with us. I can't believe you are the designer of these beautiful animals.
Yeah, I made them 34 years ago.
You know, you were telling me there's something very special about that carousel that you put together. You had little girls, real humans inside of these.
So we came up with this idea that they stood inside the animals and they wore harnesses up under the bodices of their tutus. And then from the waist down, they wore black, which you couldn't see.
Okay, what is the idea for this design? Are we going to have little girls again in here?
Well, we're going to have mannequins because they're much lighter in weight. And we're actually going to motorize the thing and make it turn this time, you know, with electrical power.
Richard, I can't wait to see this whole thing in action come November 27th for Thanksgiving Day. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Truly exciting. A lot going on behind the scenes. Can't wait to see this float in action. So make sure you're tuning in every Thursday to find out what floats the Sun Bowl Association is putting together. This is the 4th of 7 that we are featuring leading up to Thanksgiving Day Parade, which will air right here on KTSM Thursday, November 27th, starting at 10 a.m. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
5% off and no down payment. Plus, get 48 months no interest. The Veterans Day sale on now at Furniture.
Welcome back to KTSM 9 News Plus. I'm Monica Cortez. Hundreds of employees at El Paso ISD could lose their in-network health coverage under the Hospitals of Providence. Tenant Healthcare, their parent company, and Cigna Healthcare, the health insurance company, are currently at odds while negotiating to extend their contract. A notice was sent out by the Hospitals of Providence to El Paso ISD staff covered by Cigna, saying that if an agreement is not reached, the healthcare network will no longer be available starting January. The president of the El Paso AFT is urging the district to be considerate of potentially affecting employees.
Give them the time to do all these things. They're going to need it. And that'll include EPISD cutting back workloads a little bit, needless paperwork that doesn't help them.
And the El Paso ISD said these negotiations are a standard part of the company's annual renewal cycle, but that they're monitoring the situation very closely. Cigna sent us a statement reading in part, quote, "It's disappointing that Tenant is choosing to terminate our contract and stoking fear among patients as a negotiating tactic. Unfortunately, Tenant is seeking rates that far exceed the rate of inflation on healthcare services," end quote. Tenant's statement, meanwhile, reading in part, quote, "We have been negotiating in good faith to reach a reasonable agreement, but Cigna's current offer is well below inflation and will reduce reimbursement for physicians and ambulatory surgery centers," end quote. Well, KTSM is your local election headquarters, and in less than a week, Texas voters will get the final say on 17 constitutional amendments, including one that would change bail laws. Proposition 3 is on your ballot, which would essentially expand the power of district court judges to deny bail for people accused of certain crimes. KTSM 9 News reporter Tirza Ortiz sat down with El Paso County's district attorney to look at the proposition's logistics and how voting yes could alter the state's constitution.
State Proposition 3 may seem like deja vu for Texas voters, but it is another bail reform proposition that, unlike the ones that were passed during this past Texas legislative session, would actually alter constitutional rights.
What this constitutional amendment seeks to do is to change the Texas Constitution to allow the government, to allow prosecutors, the district attorney's office, to ask a judge to detain someone without a bond, without bail, until their trial.
Innocent until proven guilty, it's the cornerstone of the nation's judicial system. And in Texas, everyone has a constitutional right to a trial, along with the right to post bond, excluding limited circumstances. But with State Proposition 3, this would be altered to where certain felony offenses would be denied that right.
Murder, capital murder, aggravated sexual offenses, certain aggravated assaults, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated robberies. So we're really talking about the most serious violent felony offenses where the DA's office, the prosecutors, can ask the judge to deny someone a bond.
The DA said by doing this, Texas would match the federal government and other states that follow a pretrial detention model where evidence shows the accused are likely to not follow conditions of bond.
The point of bail is to ensure that the person shows up to court and that the community remains safe while the case is awaiting its final outcome. And so during the hearings, that's what the judge is going to be looking at. Is this person a flight risk? Is this person a danger to the community?
Critics of the proposition argue denying bail could lead to overcapacity in jails and strain the court system, but the DA said in El Paso County, that's unlikely.
It costs us $100 per inmate per night. So we only want to be detaining the people who are dangerous, who aren't going to show up to court.
Early voting is running now all the way through October 31st with the official election day landing on November 4th. You can find a full guide for voting for this year up on our website, KTSM.com. But for now, reporting in downtown El Paso, Tirza Ortiz, KTSM 9 News.
Tirza, thank you. And Texas State Rep and Democratic U.S. Senate candidate James Talarico made a stop in El Paso on Wednesday. Talarico spoke about what he hopes to accomplish if elected. Take a listen.
I want to fight for working people in this state. I want to fight to bring down the cost of health care, the cost of housing, the cost of child care. I want to make sure our veterans are taken care of. And I want to take on the billionaires who are corrupting our political system. That's what I'm going to do if I'm elected as the next U.S. Senator from Texas.
An hourly, daily basis.
Tellerico is the second major Democratic candidate in the Senate primary, joining former Representative Colin Allred, who challenged and lost to incumbent Senator Ted Cruz in last year's race. Meanwhile, Texas Senate Bill 1120 has now been in effect for nearly 2 months across the state of Texas, and its implementation significantly boosts protections for victims of family violence. And the law includes an amendment supported by the El Paso County's Attorney's Office, which extends protective orders by 2 years if related legal cases are ongoing. El Paso County Attorney Cristina Sanchez calls SB 1120 landmark legislation, saying she hopes it will encourage victims of family violence to come forward. She says she hopes this legislation will also broaden the legal definition of family violence, allowing more victims to receive legal support. All right, let's go ahead and take a little break here and talk about weather. We did see a chilly day yesterday, a cool morning today, but it looks like our weather is going to start to slowly warm up. Our guest meteorologist, Darius Stringer, is here for a first look at the forecast.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Meteorologist Darius Stringer back with a check of your forecast. Looking at temperatures right now, very comfortable out there today. Looking at them, most of us in the upper 60s, right around 70 degrees here in El Paso. We got some 40s and 50s from Ruidoso through the Guadalupe Pass area, so slightly cooler temperatures there. But overall, it's been a quite enjoyable day. The winds haven't been too bad as well, mainly around single digits for most of us, closer to 10 miles an hour in Guadalupe Pass and over to Silver City as well. And we have those gusts a little bit stronger, but not anything crazy, closer to 15 miles an hour in Silver City. A lot of us have wind gusts around 5 to 10 miles an hour, so it's been quite peaceful for us today. And as you can see, not looking at too much going on right now, very quiet pattern that we're dealing with, but we are expecting a low pressure system to develop over the next 24 hours, and that will usher a cold front into the region as we head into this weekend. But looking at the rest of this evening, quiet conditions, mostly clear skies. Overnight tonight, we'll see those temperatures cooling down into the upper 50s, maybe lower 50s by early tomorrow morning. Stay tuned, your full weather's coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right, Darius, thank you so much. Well, Texas judges and justice of the peace can now deny performing a wedding ceremony if they claim it violates their religious beliefs. This is all according to a new interpretation of judicial conduct issued by the Texas Supreme Court last week. It's a victory for North Texas government official who worries he will be disciplined for not marrying same-sex couples. But Dylan McKim spoke with a constitutional lawyer who argues this could have an impact on different sex couples as well.
The Texas Supreme Court in the national spotlight after it changed the status quo when it comes to same-sex marriage, issuing an interpretation of the Judicial Code of Conduct that reads, quote, "It is not a violation of these canons for a judge to publicly refrain from performing a wedding ceremony based upon a sincerely held religious belief." The change comes after this man, Jack County Judge Brian Humphreys, filed a federal lawsuit against the state over fear he would be punished if he declined to marry same-sex couples, something he says goes against his religion. We reached out to Humphreys. He told us he could not comment on pending litigation, but the new rule change from the state's highest court appears to settle his case.
No one's religious freedom should be used as a weapon to harm other individuals. I think in a lot of ways that's what a ruling like this gives people the power to do.
Gay rights activists in Texas sounding off after news of the change broke. Same-sex marriage is still legal in Texas, but Brad Pritchett, the CEO of Equality Texas, says this adds more barriers to same-sex couples and deepens a history of discrimination against the community.
Our communities facing discrimination in a place like Texas for decades and decades and decades, and that discrimination has just continued to increase and skyrocket, actually.
But legal experts warn the language of the rule change is very broad and could impact opposite-sex couples. Constitutional law professor Jason Mazzoni said it could impact interracial couples as well if a judge says that goes against their religion.
That, too, would fall within the scope of the comment that the Texas Supreme Court issued and would not trigger any sort of discipline of the judge.
Mazzoni says the state's decision raises a federal constitutional problem. A judge denying to marry a same-sex couple violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, Mazzoni says. The professor argues any refusal to marry a same-sex couple would break federal law, even if another judge agrees to marry the couple.
The fact that there is an alternative does not resolve the equal protection problem.
In Austin, I'm Dylan McKim.
Now, Dylan also asked Mazzoni about the likelihood of U.S. Supreme Court overturning the case that legalized gay marriage. Mazzoni says he believes that it is unlikely to happen, but he did say anything is possible, saying, quote, "Every case is settled until it's unsettled." All right, don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more to share with you right after this break. This is KTSM 9+, always putting local first.
To learn more. Join us on Saturday, November 8th at the Outlet Shops at El Paso.
Welcome back, everybody. Here's a full look at that forecast for you. We are expecting overall quiet weather ahead as we get into the weekend. We are expecting a frontal system to move through. It's not going to be a strong one, but it'll cool temperatures down slightly, and that's going to allow us to have a warm and breezy day for us on Halloween for tomorrow. And behind the front, we'll see temperatures rebounding nicely and leaving us for above normal start to the month of November. So looking pretty good overall as we look ahead. Allergy forecast, not looking at anything too concerning. Low conditions overall over the next 3 days. So looking pretty good in that that department, the conditions have been quite enjoyable. You can see not much of anything going on here around the region, so we are going to continue to see fairly quiet conditions. Been pretty dry here over the past couple of days. Looking at our temperatures, though, looking pretty good. Upper 60s, lower 70s from Truth or Consequences through El Paso into the Van Horn region. We got lower 60s in Silver City. Alamogordo, 67 degrees, 56 in Ruidoso, and 55 in Guadalupe Pass. The coolest is Cloudcroft at 48 degrees. Now, as we take a look at what we expect for our temperatures over the next 7 days, we'll take a slight temperature dip on Saturday. We'll see a frontal system move in really late tomorrow night into Saturday morning, dropping those temperatures down to the mid-70s Saturday and Sunday. But overall, temperatures will rebound very nicely back up into essentially what we're going to be for tomorrow, back near 80 degrees. So overall, not looking at a big change for those temperatures over the next 7 days. Pretty consistent overall. Looking at our rain chances, though, not expecting much of that here over the next 7 days as well. Like I said, we are going to see a front move through, but it's going to be pretty dry, so not expecting much action with that as well. Maybe just a slight uptick in winds and cooler temperatures behind that front. But as we look ahead at tonight, not looking at too much going on around the region. As we get into tomorrow, you can see that low starting to develop here, and that front will slowly but surely continue to drag further into our region as we head into tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a little warmer ahead of that front, but we'll see those winds picking up as well as that front continues to push through, and we'll see that move through the El Paso region around midnight, and we'll see slightly cooler temperatures by Saturday morning, but overall temperatures may be about 5 to 6 degrees cooler than what they will be on Friday, get down to about 74 degrees by Saturday afternoon. Looking at lows for tonight, it'll be on the cool side in a few areas, 40s and 50s here in the El Paso area, down to 39 degrees in Ruidoso, 41 in Van Horn. Highs for tomorrow afternoon, this is all ahead of the front, so we're looking at pretty warm temperatures in the 70s, and we'll see temperatures in the 60s and 50s over towards the Cloudcroft region. Depending on how things play out, we'll see temperatures cooling down a little bit further, but overall quiet conditions, maybe a little breezy if you're going out for trick-or-treating tomorrow evening, but overall it's going to be looking at overall pretty quiet conditions. Looking at plenty of sunshine continuing, highs in the mid to upper 70s over the next 9 days or so. We'll definitely see above normal temperatures and maybe a shot of cooler air returning by next weekend, but we'll have to see how things play out between now and then. Back to you.
Darius, thank you so much. I do want to take you guys outside right now using our tech stock cameras, and this is what it looks like. Loop 375 Padres. This is in, I would say, like the Lower Valley, Far East El Paso area. You're definitely seeing a little bit of congestion, so take your time as you're heading out your door. Meanwhile, in our comment segment, New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham says that the state has secured $30 million to feed New Mexicans. The state says 460,000 New Mexicans are set to lose federal SNAP benefits in a couple of days. And the governor's office says that the funds will ensure that children and families, seniors, and New Mexicans with disabilities will continue to receive food benefits amidst an ongoing federal government shutdown. The Healthcare Authority will distribute the state-funded food benefits onto existing EBT cards for eligible New Mexicans on November 1st. We did share all of this all over our social media account, and lots of you guys had lots you wanted to share with us. So we're going to start off with David Cummings, who says, putting cannabis revenue towards its citizens and non-citizens. MJ Moreno Bellamy says, if prisoners can eat for free and get all the medical support while in prison, the United States of America government should be able to help fellow Americans and taxpayers. No American should go without. And Robert Morris says, I go to the supermarket almost every couple of days. I'm amazed at the cartons of beer people don't mind paying so much money for. Then they don't have enough for healthy groceries. Now, those enrolled in SNAP should expect the state funds by Saturday to equal roughly 30% of their benefit for November, with elderly and disabled recipients receiving at least $100, according to the governor. Well, here at KTSM, of course, we value your opinion and we want to hear more from you. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Expert tips from your student doc. Sponsored by Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine. Differences between asthma attacks and panic attacks.
Hey everybody, I'm Sidney Alvarez here with 4 tips for telling asthma attacks from panic attacks with student Dr. Maya Rodemaker of Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Thanks, Sid. Panic and asthma attacks can feel similar, so knowing your triggers ahead of time can help you respond quickly. Tip number 1, recognize your trigger. Asthma triggers may include smoke, allergens like pet dander, or certain medications. Panic attack triggers can be stress or stimulants like too much caffeine. Tip number 2, know your symptoms. Both can cause shortness of breath, chest pain, sweating, and trouble speaking. Panic attacks often include fear of losing control, shaking, or feeling detached. Asthma attacks can bring coughing, mucus, and wheezing. Tip number 3, be prepared. For asthma, keep an inhaler handy. Consider having extras in key places. For panic attacks, practice grounding techniques like deep breathing so you're ready before stress hits. And Sid, for tip number 4, ask for help. Build a support network and let friends, family, and healthcare providers know your symptoms. This makes it easier to get help and create a management plan.
Thank you, Maya. For more information on osteopathic medicine, visit burrell.edu.
Expert tips from your student doc. Sponsored by Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Putting local first.
Here is a final look at the forecast for the rest of this evening. Not looking at too much going on. Mostly clear skies expected. Temperatures are going to stay pretty calm, but cooling down after midnight. We'll see those temperatures getting down into the mid to lower 50s by tomorrow morning. So definitely looking at a cool start for the day. A lot of us will be in the 40s actually. Besides El Paso, we'll have some 30s going on in Cloudcroft and Rio Del Sol. So a chilly start to our Halloween day. Some spooky feel to go around, but we'll see temperatures a little warmer. Tomorrow we'll see temperatures maybe in the mid to upper 70s ahead of that front, but we'll see temperatures a little bit cooler behind the front on this weekend. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. We'll see those morning lows dropping into the 40s here in El Paso, but overall not looking at much of a change as we get into the start of next week. Highs back into the mid to upper 70s, right around 80 degrees next Wednesday, and we'll see pretty dry conditions as well. So overall, pretty quiet trends up ahead, but we'll enjoy a nice Halloween forecast on tomorrow. Enjoy.
Darius, thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in to KTSM 9 Plus. I'm Monica Cortez. I'll see you all tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. 9 News Now with Christina Rada is up next.